Welcome to Man Matters Podcast, where combat sports, mindset, and real life lessons collide. Hosted by Derving and Nate, we dive into Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, MMA, and the grind that shapes athletes inside and outside the mat. Every episode, we bring stories, strategies, and raw conversations that fuel growth, resilience, and community. Stay tuned because it's more than a fight, it's a lifestyle. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast with Nate and myself. Everybody wants to compete until they realize not every opportunity actually changes your life. In combat sport, and honestly in life, there's this idea that saying yes is always the right move. More matches, more exposure, more chances to prove yourself. But what happens when you have already proven anything? Today we're breaking down UFC 328 matchups, but more importantly, we're talking about something deeper. When competition matters, when it doesn't, and when it really means to move forward, not just stay busy, because at the highest level, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing good. So I was trying to break down this week's matchups for UFC 328. We're just going to talk about a few of them for this weekend, because UFC 328, first thing, say every card has fights, but not every fight actually matters. Some of them are just matchups that are about rankings, positioning, stay relevant. Also, just survival fights. For example, the Volkov versus Waldo Cortez, there's probably a ranking sorting out the heavyweight division in there. That would be Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. That'll be interesting, probably because both of them are coming up. And then you have King Green, Bobby Green versus Jeremy Stevens. We are two guys that are long in the tooth competing. But we have that co-main event of Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, where Joshua Van, he won the match because of Pantoja. He broke his arm at the beginning of the match, so it doesn't feel like a contested title win on his part. So this is the first time he's trying to defend his title after winning it against Pantoja. And then you have Tatsuro Taira. He isn't just fighting for a title, but this is the moment for his entire country, because he will be the first Japanese UFC champion, which seems weird. Considering Japan, how long history they have on combat, they have Pride, Shudo, and all the legends of the game, but they have never had a UFC champion, the most coveted MMA title.
That's interesting. They must have had a one champion, right?
Or where maybe
So that's more in their domain, I guess you could say.
Yeah, let me look it up, because they have low weight class, more active fighter. Takura Segawa. He became the one interim flyweight kickboxing world, well, then I said kickboxing. But in MMA, the Muay Thai, they have some. But in MMA, they haven't had. They have not. I see so far. Yuya Wakamatsu, he was top contender for flyweight in MMA division for one. That's crazy. I mean, in the UFC, I remember Jushi Okami was one that he went against Anderson Silva for at the middleweight. I can't remember any other Japanese fighter that went for the title in the UFC.
Yeah. So I guess they tend to do the singular martial arts, not the mixed.
Yeah.
Because I got plenty of judo, plenty of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm wondering, I think because MMA usually look frowned upon compared to other martial arts, because it was looked as being too dirty, because it has so many things that they were not within that martial arts.
Surprising. Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if it was some, like, a cultural view of it almost.
you think that's what jiu-jitsu, they kind of parallel MMA, because at the beginning it started as a challenge, the Ultimate Fighter Championship, which jiu-jitsu at the beginning was going like a circus show, going against other martial arts. See how good jiu-jitsu was coming out of Brazil. I mean, I can't remember who was the first owner of. I was like Carlos Gracie Jr. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the Gracies that was the owners of the UFC before the Fortinos brothers bought it out. Because that used to be the challenge, was anybody, any weight class going against a jiu-jitsu guy, but now it was all the martial arts together, which kind of mirrors how jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu itself based the main came to. And it was a gamble on the part, but also all the martial arts, they are not as, I want to say, brave, not so much brave, but as curious about trying themselves against other. For example, karate, they straight to kata. Judo, they stick to their judo move. Not so much takedowns. Double legs are banned in judo for a reason. And then other martial arts, they stick to, if it's striking, there's no grappling. So
Yeah.
being the, I want to say tribal, slicing, that's the way I want to put it. Because it seems to be tribal mentality in which MMA doesn't fit in that description, because they have mixed martial arts. You have all the other disciplines together. So I'm just out here assuming that might be the reason why, because Japan is more known to be a disciplined country.
Right. They seem to have like very deep traditions, and yeah, whereas MMA is kind of sturdy, brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with 33 years, I think that's how the UFC is now.
Yeah.
And MMA started.
Yeah.
So it's fairly new compared to other martial arts in which they train. And you don't see, also might be another reason, MMA is not trained at a young age over there.
True.
It's an intro.
Yep.
Usually kickboxing or other martial arts look that way. Might be the reason why. Also, another thing might be UFC is predominantly, their stars are heavier weight classes.
That's true.
125, 135, then the look as big gainers. And I want to say 13 years ago or something like that, 12, 14 years ago, that's when I started including the 145, 135, 125 weight classes. To a point, 155 wasn't even a weight class, because 155 existed for a little bit. Then I think BJ Penn left, they got rid of that weight class. And then remember, Sean Strickland versus Kenny Florian was the first time they brought back the lightweight division at 155.
Yep.
Sean Strickland won that fight. I think that was 2007, 2008, something like that, when they first brought that back. So usually Japanese fighters are not big as far as like going 170, 185. Yushin Okami was the exception, being at 185. But you rarely see any Japanese fighter being that big. So there might be no reason why. But in the case of the UFC, that might be why they haven't had a champion.
Right. That
Do
could
they
be.
have? Was Sakura? Where's Sakuraba? Was Sakuraba Japanese?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking yes, but
He's yeah, he's Japanese. He was born in Showa Akita, which is now Kitagami Akita, Japan. Because I remember he was known as the Gracie Killer. But was he? Well, that was in Pride too. The 2000 Pride Open Weight Grand Prix semifinalist. He had the longest fight in Pride FC history. It was the Pride Grand Prix 2000 finals. It was 90 minutes. Jesus Christ.
different.
Yeah. Damn.
Not many would stand under that, you know?
No.
Most people crack in the 15 minutes of.
Yeah. Practice, let alone fighting.
Right. My God.
That's a soccer game right there. 90 minutes. Yeah. Who was his dance partner? I wonder who his dance partner was, like, the way against him.
Yeah.
Igor Povchenshi? Povchakin? That's the semis. Damn. Wait, that's 90 minutes. Crazy. But yeah, that is interesting that they had never had a champion considered their long lineage of combat. I mean, the samurai lineage, but they never have. Also, they have for the main event Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Do you see that they're doing different security measures for those two?
No,
They're not doing any face off.
really?
No face off for them because they're too loose cannon. Do you blame the UFC for that?
Gotta keep the dogs in their pens.
Yeah, can't let them out. Can't let them
That's
out. UFC.
wild.
Yeah, because you know Khamzat Chimaev is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Sean
We know
Strickland.
Sean Strickland is also wild.
He's always carrying.
Yeah, true. Gosh.
Yeah. And they used to be teammates. That's the crazy thing. They used to be teammates at Extreme Couture. When
Really?
Khamzat Chimaev used to come there and train early in his career.
Wow.
I saw in the embedded this he sent a group message text about a joke, and he said Khamzat Chimaev took it out of he took the joke well. He took it out of context. Sean Strickland, nobody gets your jokes.
Yeah,
You have to
real.
understand that.
Your jokes are special.
Yeah, they're really cut deep too. Do you think it's funny? Well, it's not really that funny, man, for other people. Go fucker jokes is not that funny for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
No fun.
Golly.
But it should be interesting. How will Sean Strickland be able to solve the puzzle of Khamzat Chimaev is undefeated?
You will.
No.
I don't know. I mean, stuff the takedowns, I guess. I can't imagine what else he's going to try to do. Stuff the takedowns and keep it standing up, keep it boxing, because Strickland will do pretty well if it stays to that. But I don't think there's no way. Although what's that?
How long do you think it's going to take Khamzat Chimaev to get a body lock?
About halfway through the first round.
Because he does a lot of tip kicks. Sean Strickland.
I think Sean will I think he'll be able to he'll stuff it for a little bit. But I can't picture him holding out against that relentless onslaught.
Yeah. What's the numbers of Khamzat Chimaev as far as the UFC stats? Because he doesn't get hit much, but also a lot of it has to do with him grappling. It's hard for you to get hit if you wrap around somebody else. So
I mean, Sean has surprised me before. That Adesanya fight was, I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
So, maybe he'll blow my mind.
Because, but also that was against a striker, and that was in Australia, right? He fought. Let me see. Significant strike defense for such about 43%. I'm trying to see. Dricus says 13. Robert Whitaker 2. Kamar Usman was 36. Lee Jingling 0 strike. Jerome Merskar 0 strike. So his first 1, 2, 3, 4. His first fights, he only got hit once in the UFC. Then he had the brawl with Gilbert Burns, in which Gilbert Burns had 119 strikes. Kevin Holland did not land anything. Kamaru Usman, the second one that was able to land the most, was 36 strikes. And then Dricus Plessis was only able to land 13, which, yeah.
Usman makes sense. That one I could see.
Because he couldn't grapple him.
Right.
Also, Khamzat Chimaev had a little bit of advantage because it was at 185. It was on 170 anymore.
Yeah.
Because he used to bounce in 170, 185. In which Kamaru Usman was not. But, yeah. That'll be interesting how Strickland will be able to keep him away. Jab, tip, jab. And also, he stands straight. He doesn't. Have you even noticed that? When he just comes at you?
Yeah. It's very much a boxer stance. And I think that's how he did so well against Adesanya. Because he had a very good posture for that. He hid behind his shoulder really well. But yeah, this is going to be a different ball game.
Somebody that wants to maul him.
The thing being, I don't know that Strickland will be, I don't think he'll have a problem being physical. You know what I mean? So I think that plays in his advantage, or at least neutralizes. There's no way his wrestling is up to par with Khamzat.
You consider he's a stream couture because they have a lot of wrestlers there. But Russian wrestling and Chechen wrestling is different.
Yeah.
The folk style wrestling here.
Yep.
Another guy that also the cardio that Khamzat Chimaev training out of the Calavita, they have a crazy cardio there. And he brought in Pat Downey the third to train with him. Khamzat Chimaev.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blue belt world champion.
Yeah.
Shocking people, shocking Russian. Coincidentally, he's shocking Russian. BJF. Full circle. He's paying his dues now. Now, that would be. IBJJF actually took some years off his suspension for being a training dummy for Khamzat Chimaev as reparation for shocking Russian in their finals.
Dang.
Had to win somehow, like get back to training. Also somebody that's really, he brought a good guy for training because Pat Downey has a mouth on him, trash talking. So it is a good guy that he brought in to get used to during training. The Lizard King, that's his nickname. But we should see. I think, yeah. I'm not sure how the Joshua Van match will go. Because Joshua Van does like to strike a lot. But Tyra, he is pretty good at grappling. So we'll see how he does in the match. But Toya just waiting on the sidelines. Please get me in. After that fluke elbow. But you feel bad for that guy. Pantoya, after being so dominant at flyweight, in dislocating his elbow at the beginning of the so hopefully probably Pantoya's trying to get the next one out of this too. Because these two guys came out of nowhere. Especially Joshua Van. He wasn't really ranked. He went against number 2 guy. He put in a clinic by pushing the pace in the striking part. And he was so much target fixated on the striking part. His opponent didn't even try to take him down. He was like, okay, it's going to be a kickboxing match. And he lost because of that same reason. He just wanted to be a kickboxing match. But with Tyra, when the going gets tough, will he rely on the grappling? But we shall see how this plays out. I haven't seen many Tyra matches, but Joshua Van is probably going to try to keep it standing as striking as much as possible to keep that title. Speaking of flyweight division, one of the flyweight great, Demetrious Johnson, he's no longer fighting to prove anything. He was just picking up Khamzat Chimaev. He just recently was grappling with Khamzat Chimaev just to try around his grappling. He's oversized, of course. He like got destroyed. But during one of his, they asked him about competing again. And he said that they offered him a grappling match versus Arman Saryukin in Brazil. But he's like, nah, he really didn't want to do that because he's too big. He said he was too big. His exhibition is for fun, but he's not going to Brazil so he get choked out by Arman Saryukin. He was told that, well, that's the basic of jiu-jitsu, is because the smaller guy usually wins. And then he's like, yeah, if the other guy doesn't know jiu-jitsu, and if the other guy's jiu-jitsu isn't as good as mine, if my jiu-jitsu is better than somebody, then I should be able to beat them. But if my jiu-jitsu is better than them and they're a little bit bigger than me, I'm going to struggle, which might be the case of Arman Saryukin. If my jiu-jitsu is better than them and their jiu-jitsu is just as good as mine, they are bigger and athletic. When the size does make a difference, don't get me wrong, there's always a chance, but the chance is very, very minimal. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah.
Because it's always the old thinking about, yeah, size doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu, but it does matter if somebody's good at grappling and also they're bigger than you.
That's the thing. Yeah, if the guy doesn't know anything about grappling and he's a lot bigger than you, yeah, he's not going to stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
If he knows a moderate amount of grappling, but he's much bigger than you, it gets a lot harder really fast.
Yeah, especially if you, for example, you get caught in a freaking heading arm scarf hold by somebody who doesn't know much grappling. It's gonna be freaking nightmare. Trying to get a grilled cheese out of somebody that's Down syndrome. It's gonna be hard. You can take it, but it's gonna be really, really hard to do it. trying to break out of there, getting stuck. It's careful. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Position. But and also another thing that he was asked about was competing in IBJJF again. And he said he's not really interested. Right now, he's not interested because I don't have a calling to do jiu-jitsu like I used to, because I want to train once a week, and my project have taken the majority of my passion. And that's what I've been focusing on. And nothing changes if he wins or loses. His life doesn't change. So that's why he doesn't care to compete. If that makes sense. If he wins whole world, I don't know if my life will change or I'll feel different. Do you agree with that?
Right. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me on a lot of levels. I mean, if your passion is somewhere else, so you're not maybe training as hard, you're training regularly, but, not as hard. And
Mhm.
then if, you don't feel like it's a life changing event, win or lose, it's even less incentive to be passionate about the training going up, leading up to it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
the juice is not worth the squeeze, so why even try? Or something like, because he's in the UFC Hall of Fame now.
Right. That's the thing. He's proven everything to himself and everyone else.
Yeah, that's one of the chances of him getting injured and not be able to do the things that he enjoys. And especially now training just once a week. Remember, what we talked about earlier today about no turning something as off a hobby into a job. I wish that would be the case of he, because he doesn't train jiu-jitsu once a week because he just want to have fun. He still works out and train, like does strength conditioning as regular, but jiu-jitsu by itself, he usually does once a week and just for fun, just stay sharp. But he doesn't want to have to become a job like he did with MMA. You don't want to turn something fun into your job. You're having fun,
Yeah.
especially now. If he has kids, probably too, that might take some part of it, because you get to enjoy the journey with your kids along the way. Because you teach your kids class, you cannot be teaching your kids class and trying to compete at the same time.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. The I feel like if you take stuff like that, if you push beyond what you're really passionate about at that point, you might lose all passion altogether, and then it becomes even harder to train once a week. Because I mean, that's a good habit to be in.
Yeah,
It's good, healthy for you, but you could ruin that if you you know compete too much beyond what your passion is. So
yeah. Especially if he's in the age that he doesn't have to compete. The chance of him getting injured is higher than him winning worlds.
mm. True.
It's just another trophy that's going to collect dust in his closet probably by now. It doesn't seem much. Um, there's not much return on that investment. It doesn't add to his legacy. It doesn't improve his life. I mean, he said it's more likely he gets more from streaming. He will allow his recording that he does. That he it's not like he's going to come out with any new BJJ fanatics instructional after winning worlds. He's like, I don't have anything to provide as far in that aspect of BJJ that somebody has to cover that's been doing it for longer than him. So there's nothing for him. Um, but he's one of the greats. Reason it does make sense. You have to literally pick your battles,
Yes.
and that's what he's doing at this point. Because the path that he is being on, and he has overcome a lot of things personally growing up as a kid. I don't know if you know that he was some of his father step fathers, they were really abusive towards him. And he know later on in life that the reason why his mom wasn't able to help him was because she was deaf. Yeah, she was able to to read lips and things like that, but she was like able to hear in a different room. Also, like his dad wasn't really present in his life. His dad came to one of his fights and he's like, "Hey, do you know who I am?" And like, no, I'm like, "Well, you don't, do you know who I am?" That's what Demetrious Johnson said to his dad, because he became famous now. But he have overcome a lot of things in abuse growing as a kid, and he built his own career parallel at the same time. Somebody humble beginnings. I think it was recycling. factory. That's what he was working at the same time as he was fighting, just to provide for his family. A steady income, because fighting was a steady income. I mean, at the time, I think in WC he was fighting 135, not 125, because I remember him fighting against Dominic Cruz. It always cracks me up whenever in that Dominic Cruz fight, because you know how Dominic Cruz, he does like starter step, cross ankle, does that. Demetrious Johnson started doing that during the fight, and Dominic Cruz did a double under, took the back, and suplex. Demetrious Johnson, like, it's
That
hard for
didn't
you to
work
do
out.
the footwork when you feet are up in the air like that. No, that's what you get for mocking. You know how Dominic Cruz like to take things really too personal. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you fucker! All right, I'll show you." He was picking a suplex. Yeah, probably Demetrious like, "Yeah, I probably should have done that." He lost the match, but he showed that he was a good fighter even then, even though he was outweighed and outmatched by somebody in a higher weight class. That's Dominic Cruz, the Dominator. I think that's the nickname for Dominic Cruz. Well, I mean, now he just get to pick. I mean, that's what, as a retired fighter, that's what you should be able to do. You get to pick the things you want to do, but who you want to do without having to stay fighting or hanging on for too long for a may perhaps stay relevant or making an income out of it. Because how many fighters that you see they get trapped in that
constantly?
Yeah, and probably he's set financially.
I would imagine, yeah.
Especially
He
he's
seems
able
like
to
a smart
travel.
dude all around. So
Yeah, and he's able to travel and things like that. Was he the one that he brought Craig Jones and Miki Musumeci in the interview both of them together?
was it?
I think so. Right before
Okay.
CGI too, because they try to make him drink. To make Miki Musumeci drink. I can't remember what it was, a word that he will have to say. Every time he said words, like, okay, you have to drink. They make it they make him drink.
My God.
Boom. Yeah, I think it was him because they were talking about Moneyberg. The Moneyberg question came up. I mean, he's having different people in his show, and he has a good fight IQ too, even as a retired fighter.
Yeah, it really seems like DC level fight IQ. If
Mm-hmm.
not, I mean, maybe more so even. I don't know.
Yeah, because DC had two different. Because you have to think DC had two different career paths. One, Demetrious Johnson only had one, because DC was a high level Olympic wrestler, and then he went into MMA. But Demetrious Johnson, he had MMA, but also he compartmentalized each martial arts to break it down to become great in MMA. That's what made him great.
That's very true. Yeah, when you hear him talk, really, just to hear him break stuff down is very interesting because his knowledge on it's beyond. So it's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Also, one thing that was impressive, now you say that, of his knowledge, have you seen him do different fighters' stance? He did like Khabib, he did Dominic Cruz, he does different fighters. You tell him, I think it was Sean O'Malley, the way they stance, he would do it like how they stance when they're fighting. Let me see, I can look it up. But that's how good IQ he has. Like, oh my God, he able to do their stance on cue.
Shows you how into it he is.
Yeah.
To know the fighter, to know their stance,
Yeah.
to know how to get himself into that stance. That's
Yeah. Hold on.
wild.
Let me see. See if I have to share this. Yeah, it's wild. Not only like able to break it down, but he able to see. Let me know if you can hear.
Izzy. Israel Adesanya, very wide stance, hands down, lots of feints, clips you when he comes in, very dangerous to extend on him.
Sean O'Malley.
Lots of weight on the lead leg, quick, sharp shots, lots of feints.
Dominic Cruz.
Hands down, and he uses the arm as counterbalance for his slip.
Khabib.
That's how he engages.
Khabib.
Khabib is interesting. It's very
Cejudo.
Textbook. Measured. Wide stance, ready to explode, ready to come in.
Strickland. Oh.
Lots of weight on the back leg. Philly shell.
Poirier.
He has his own swag.
McGregor.
Another very measured style, a karate stance.
Money Mouth. Izzy.
Israel Adesanya.
See how crazy it is to break down each stance
Yeah, that
on
is.
cue.
That's crazy, really. Next level.
Do you think that's a gamer's mentality too? Because in games you have to learn different patterns without unknowingly you're learning them and breaking it down. And he has lost video games a lot.
Maybe.
Because if you play the UFC game, you give you more time to learn those stances.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. He's like just on cue.
Right. Even got the pull your shorts up and the hair wipe.
Your hair looks good. I'm surprised you do that. That's before the ghillie. You should jump for a ghillie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's a really impressive guy. There's nothing to question about what he's made of as far as competing. He really done it all. Here in the United States and in Southeast Asia when he was in one. In the striking part. But then now we're going to transition into the other side of sport. And this has nothing to do with medals. A controversy of Melqui Galvao. I'm not sure I pronounced the name correctly. But the controversy surrounding Melqui Galvao, this is where things get serious. Because now we're not talking about competition. We're talking about accountability. We're talking about culture. And we're talking about the responsibility that comes with leadership in this sport. Situations like this force uncomfortable conversations, and a lot of people don't want to have them. But if we ignore these moments, we're choosing comfort over growth. Now, it's important to be fair. There's difference between allegations and confirmed facts, but also important to be honest about the bigger picture. Combat sports, especially Jiu-Jitsu, have always had this culture of silence, handling things internally, don't make noise. But that doesn't work anymore. If the sport wants to grow, it has to mature because accountability matters more than medals, and integrity of the sport will always be bigger than the individual. In this case, we have covered before this topic, but in this case, seems a little bit different because he also was a police officer, was trying to use his influence not within the gym, but within the community and trying to prevent people from coming out and reporting his all the things that he was doing, which is egomaniacal at best that you can tell from this guy. His son, one of the most renowned grapplers nowadays, Galvao. It is really. I hate to say this thing, but they kick him more and more and more. These kind of individuals. Yeah, there is a 60-minute audio reveals that his manipulation tactics that tend to maintain access to minor complaining. They're complaining. He's trying to get access to I think it's their phones to prevent that from happening. Their reports, things like that. One of his students that they went to Italy. Because of one of the instances that happened. Yeah, this is kind of monster that should not be around.
Yeah, I mean, really, with how frequent it's happening, really, I guess just more people need to understand, if you see something like this or you're questioning whether or not it's happening, probably say something like immediately. Don't sweep it under the rug. Don't just dismiss it because it's happening so much. You can't ignore it. And on the flip side, like to keep yourself out of it, make sure you're in the gym with a group of people, don't hang out one-on-one as much. I would say like it's too risky,
You can never trust someone that much.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Sad that this come to this, but and also by staying quiet, I don't want to blame the victim, but by staying quiet, these monsters thrive even more because they have more victims to pry on. Which was the case of Isaac Mitchell, piece of shit. He ran to Australia. Oh, he just pry on other people because of being they're not known, but this kind of monster they should be exposed for what they are, so that way they cannot be within anybody else. So it's difficult to come out and try to press charges and things like that, because it's really traumatic. Because for us, it's easier to do talking about it because it's someone else's story, but for them, it's their lives and their trauma that they had to overcome. But if you like, you can try to go to somebody you trust and try to get these people out of, trying to get them away from anybody else that can get hurt. Because just like you got hurt, anybody else can get hurt, because chances are you're not the first person that they have targeted or they have pry on with this kind of behaviors that they have. Because a predator mentality is like it is predatory. It doesn't just stop there. It's always more and more and more. As maniacally as they are, the way the brain works is sick. That's the best way I can explain it. I understand, because I don't know how people do those kind of things. But if they get exposed, just to get him out, press charges in. But the thing about this case is he was a cop.
Clearly, I mean, it goes beyond just the jiu-jitsu community in that case. But I mean, yeah.
Especially in Brazil, because police here is different than over there. Because you see, I don't know if you've been in other countries, the cops are easy to bribe in other countries. Just like in the private sector, you get paid more than you would by the government. Government jobs don't get paid well. It's not as strict or as transparent as here. Police brutality here is a joke compared to other countries. In other countries, if you talk bad about the government, you will be in a creek and you will never be found, because you will get buried in a shallow grave. Because that's the order of business over there. And just like that, for talking about the government, and then if you talk about that, just another example, Leandro Law. Remember what happened to him? Another big figure in jiu-jitsu.
Killed by an off-duty cop.
Yeah. Egomaniac person. That just happened to be in a government position, being supposed to be protect and serve or deliver justice, but that person has his own personal agenda to deliver his own justice and kill somebody. In the case of Leandro Lom. In the case of Galvao, he have his own personal agenda of being egomaniac and being a predator against minor or anybody else within his gym. Just because he produced his son being a great athlete doesn't mean you make you a decent human being. Another person that spoke against him was his current daughter-in-law. I made lower about if you see something, say something along the lines, which is difficult for her and also for Mika. I can remember he was trying to apologize to his family for not being a good son during his last match. I'm not sure he was trying to address that about the incident with his dad, because I mean, you cannot blame Mika for not being supportive of his dad for being a shitty person. You cannot be supporting somebody doing terrible behavior because you're hindering that same behavior. And you have to cut your ties with them. I mean, you have a son now. Do you want your son to go around somebody like that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. You have to cut that's literally a cancer. You have to cut out all your life. Because they have their own personal agendas. And the reason they keep it hidden is because it's the personal they want to have. Because usually you have terrible behavior. You're like, hey, am I being a piece of shit right now for saying something? Usually you can't somebody like, hey, man, being unreasonable for certain things like that, or act a certain way, and then you get like, oh yeah, you get pushed back, like, hey, keep you humble. But if you're a terrible person, you don't do that kind of things. You don't get feedback from somebody else because you're only in your head and you want to do what you want to do. Makes you a terrible person. Yeah, I feel bad for Mika and me because, I mean, he's a relative and he being a piece of shit that he is. He should deserve the full punish of the law, wherever he may go. But speaking of Mia Lawrence, she's returning. That this kind of situation don't usually just affect one person. They affect everyone connected to it. And now you got Amir Lord stepping back into competition, trying to earn a spot at the U.S. World Team. And she's doing it well. Everything around her is complicated. That's a level of pressure most people can't relate to, because it's one thing to compete when life is good. It's another thing to perform when your mind pull in 100 different directions. And that's where you see the elite athletes are really made of: focus, discipline, control, the ability to separate emotion from execution, because anybody can show up when everything is going right, but champions show up when it's not. It'd be interesting how she does. She's coming out of, just had recently a baby with Melqui Galvao. This recently moved with him. She really looks like she's been training a lot, even though whenever she was doing pregnancy, she was still training. But now she's ramping up for world team. I can't remember if Sarah McMahon is still her coach, because remember Sarah McMahon was her coach during the Olympics in 2024 when she won gold. Those as a remember Laura, she had won junior, she won cadet, and she won seniors world championship. Then she went to Olympics and just happened to win the gold there as well. She's one of those people that's really, really like a outlier when it comes to competing. She does really well. Just also because she's facing the strategy of her father-in-law controversy. This is not the first time she has faced controversy. No, not controversy, but adversity in her career. Because in 2020, her brother got killed in the break-in entry incident, which is traumatic as well. She's spoken about that as well. So it is sad that she had to go through those things, but she has shown that she's competing high level. But it is interesting how she has a different adversity, but also at the same time she has a different motivator in which her son to competing now. So if that's probably that BC where this takes her as a mother competing, because Mika has been competing this whole time too, and he has been on a tear.
Yeah, they're really super couple.
Yeah. You don't want to mess up their order when you go to a restaurant and has a waiter. You're fucked either way. You definitely don't try to spit on their food.
Yeah, right.
They'll kill you, and they bring you back to life and kill you again. Oh, I can imagine that kid. It'll be X-Men too when it comes to grappling. But dude, that he'll be, as karma will have it, he'll grow up to want to be a basketball player, baseball player. He'll want to do any grappling.
Right. Yeah. They'll do karate or something.
Yeah, it's like, damn, man, I grew up in the Mets. I don't want to be in the Mets anymore. Being rebellious. You want to be ex-skater. That's what you want to do.
Do you have any idea what people would do to get the kind of training you have access to?
Yeah. So I don't want that. I was growing around it my whole life. I want to do that as a living. But yeah, we also see how she does. I can see good things. I can't remember which weight class. I know she's in Kennedy's weight class. Kennedy Blades weight class. Because she's really good. Kennedy Blades, she's won NCAAs for Iowa. Her weight class. Boom. When you step back, look everything we talk about today. UFC 328, Demetrious Johnson, IBJJF, controversy, and athletes competing under pressure. It all comes back to one question: what actually matters? Not every fight matters. Not every opportunity is worth it, and not every path leads forward. Sometimes growth looks like stepping up, and sometimes it looks like stepping away. Sometimes it's about chasing more, and sometimes it's about being honest enough to say, that's not for me. Because the highest level in our life, in real life, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. Those are really wise words from a purple belt, by the way. Do you think so? Purple belts are usually not warm ups.
Yeah. What the heck?
Don't take every round 100%. Like Craig Jones made it far based on that. He doesn't go hard. He made it to second place and everything. But do you think he's does that fuck around? Because he looks like he goes harder doing rolls.
What's that?
During training, you saw his training videos, like he looks effortlessly, but also he looks like he had to go hard sometimes.
Yeah.
To be able to be that good.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I don't believe that he doesn't seem possible.
because he's always moving. You don't see him like staying stuck in one guard or something like that.
And maybe that's part of it too. Maybe he doesn't, put the pedal to the metal as much as he just stays moving constantly. Because I think you could achieve the same effect.
Yeah, you don't have, as long as you don't stop moving, you improve position. And the thing about him, he knows what position is next. That's what he's good at, even from octopus guard. Oh, by the way, shout out. I think he's structuring at 50% off right now on BJJ Fanatics. I saw it on Facebook earlier. Yeah. Probably that's what he's in my head. 50% off BJJ Fanatics. I can remember somebody was trying to do, just joking around yesterday. We were rolling. He tried to do octopus guard. It's like, we're in the ground. Octopus doesn't work out of the water. Doesn't work out here. Oh, yeah, octopus guard is legit though. You know how to do it. As long as you don't get your forearm stuck, you're good. And you're flexible enough too.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have anything else for today. Do you have anything? No? Okay. You want to close out?
Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Give us a listen and a follow on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Follow us on Instagram. Let us know what you like and what you don't like. I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mad Matters podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. Drop us a review, share with your training partners, and keep rolling on and off the mat. Until next time, keep fighting, keep learning, keep growing.